Hey folks, it is Chad here with Airstream of Greensboro. I'm at home right now. This is my guest bedroom. And yes, this is the first live that I've ever done. So everything is a little bit new. I will say I'm a little nervous. Usually, when I'm behind the camera, I'm just kind of running around filming Airstreams and talking about Airstreams, which I do that every day. So doing a live stream, I don't know why, but for some reason, this definitely feels nervous. I'm going to give a little bit of time for people to jump in. We just started here at 5 o'clock, and I see there are a few people have joined. There's 4 likes. Thank you for the likes. I'm also like, this is the first time that I've opened the live stream for YouTube. So like everything looks new, as you can probably imagine. If you've done something new before, I'm like, where are the controls? Oh, I just popped out something. Probably shouldn't do that. Okay. And we're going for a minute. Now I've got a live chat here that I can see. I think it's showing me. So I want to see live chat. Okay. Live chat. So you can ask questions. If you have questions about Airstreams, if you have questions about like the 2023 model year, or yeah, so somebody said, okay, this is so weird. I agree. It is weird. Oh, watching it on TV. That's crazy. I guess you could do that if you have YouTube on your TV. Okay. All right. If you have questions about 23 or 22 or 24, of course, we're going to get into 24. And I'm not allowed to show anything currently. Basically, Airstream told me I could talk all about it, but I couldn't show you, like, I can't show you what's on these sheets, which is, I mean, it literally just looks like somebody made a PowerPoint and put Airstream on it. But I can't show you this, but I can talk everything about it. And I also don't have photos of anything. Like there's some cool changes that are going to happen with 24 with certain floor plans, and I was hoping to try to get like photos of that particular change. And basically, what I was told by my rep at Airstream was that they hadn't even seen those changes. So I guess we'll see. I mean, we're in the 2024 model year now for Airstream. So that change happened July 10th. Airstream takes a little bit of time off. I think it's like a 2-week time frame that they shut down the factory. A lot of RV manufacturers do this. This isn't like unique to Airstream, but in that time frame, I guess they'll retool and do some things like that and get the factory ready to be able to build, what's going to happen in 24. When they come back and start building, essentially anything they build from this point on is going to be a 2024 model year. Now, what that does mean for you, if you're shopping for an Airstream and you're not necessarily looking for maybe one of the changes that's going to come, like that change isn't going to benefit you, or you're not really concerned about that, but you are in the market for an Airstream. If you can get a 23 version of what you're looking for, there are some factory incentives right now. And it's a true factory incentive. And the reason I say that is a lot of times dealerships will say factory incentive when they're really just giving a discount. Like it's a discount you would have been given anyway, and they're using the phrase factory incentive or factory discount or factory authorized discount or something like that. And I say that specifically for the RV industry. The auto industry is a lot different than the RV industry. Generally because like your Chevy store is just Chevy, your Ford store is just Ford, and there's a tight knit relationship between Ford and that dealer. Where in the RV industry, most of your dealerships are going to have multiple manufacturers on the lot. Now, Airstream is unique in that there are a lot of Airstream only dealerships that all they sell is Airstream, which is, for me, growing up in the RV industry, just feels kind of odd because I've always been at a dealer so far that has multiple lines. Also think it would be cool to work for a dealer that only sold Airstream, so I only had to focus on one brand and just know everything about that one brand instead of having to know about every brand that we have. But so most of your stores, not all of your Airstream stores, but outside of the kind of the as Tim put it, SOBs, so some other brands, they're going to have multiple brands on the lot with multiple companies that are supporting those brands. And the factory incentive isn't usually an actual factory incentive. It's normally just the dealer saying, hey, we're going to give a bigger discount to try to get the 23s or 22s or whatever it might be to leave. This is with Airstream a true factory incentive. The only way the dealership gets this money is to actually fill the paperwork out, have you sign it, and then they're reimbursed. The dealership is reimbursed the money that is discounted for that particular unit. So, for instance, at my store, you're going to get all of our regular discounts that we're putting on anything that's 2023 to try to move the 23s before 24 start hitting the ground. You're going to get those discounts, and then you're going to get the additional Airstream incentive. They're calling it the Summer of Adventure. I'm not sure if I can show you this either. I'm not sure if I can actually show this page, so I'm just going to show the back of it. But this is the page that they sent out for us to know how to communicate it. It says 2022, so new unregistered 2022s and 2023s, Airstream travel trailer models in dealer stock. So if it's on the lot, you should get this discount. And this started, when did it start? It doesn't have a start date. It ends on August 31st. Yeah, I'm not sure when the start date was, but it has started. And I think it must be completed by October 31st. So that's of 2023. So I'm going to say that's probably the end date. Now, as far as discounts, on Base Camp and Bambi models, you're going to get an additional $1,500 off. Caravels, you'll get an additional $1,750 off, $1,750 off. Flying Clouds, $2,500 off. Internationals, $2,750, $2,750 off. Globetrotters, $3,000 off. Pottery Barns, $3,500 off. And believe it or not, Pottery Barn used to be one that we rarely saw. Usually, it would be like if we got a Pottery Barn in and it was available, someone backed out, and and it went pretty quick. I actually have a few Pottery Barns within our network that I can get right now. Oh, I just hit the camera stand. Sorry about that. I do have a few Pottery Barns I can get right now. So there's some out there that are 23 models where you could get this additional $3,500 off, and in classic models, $4,500 off. And something I do want to say too, I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it because it's the truth. You shouldn't be paying MSRP for any Airstream right now. I know that was a thing during COVID, and everyone was kind of doing that. All the dealers were trying to get MSRP, and if you wanted to get one, you're going to pay MSRP. You shouldn't be paying MSRP on any Airstream right now. I can't really think of any reason. Pottery Barn was kind of that way for a bit because they were so hard to get. Like it would be right there. You should get a little bit of a discount, but maybe not a huge one. But you should be seeing some discounts. I'm not going to say comfortably say that you're going to get right now those kind of discounts that you were getting in like 2018, 2017. Where you might get 40% off or something like that. I don't think you're going to see those for a little while. It may happen. If you could find a unregistered new 2022 Airstream, whatever it might be, you can probably get a pretty hefty discount on that one. But your 23s, you should see a decent discount on them, plus the factory incentive. Just something to be aware of if you're shopping right now. One question I just saw from Michael: if someone orders and as normally, if some order ones, how long does it take? So that's going to depend as far as how long it will take to order one. Your classics, your 30s and 33s, you're usually going to have right now, I would say 8 to 12 month wait. If it's the 33-foot classic, it's probably going to be at that 12-month mark or longer. That's just a more rare chassis. Something Airstream is able to do, if it's a kind of normal chassis, something like the 27 FB or the 28 RB, the 25s, they make a ton of those chassis. So when they come into the door, if I call ahead, if I'm able to call, I think it's 13 weeks is generally what they want. They want like leadway. If I can call in 13 weeks and have 13 weeks to tell them like, hey, I need that to actually be, a Globetrotter instead of a Flying Cloud, I can get it switched. The 30 and 33s are less, they don't build them as often. So those chassis come along less. The 30 is a little bit easier to get because we do have a 30 International, a 30 Globetrotter, 30 Flying Cloud, a couple of 30 Flying Clouds, and a 30 Classic. The 33 is its own, that's the only one that's a 33. So that's a harder one to get. We've got to basically order it and then wait for that chassis to be built. Everything else you should be able to get within, for the most part, within, I'd say 4 to 6 months max. The way my store is, we're within, I think our company owns 12 Airstream stores. 9 of them are on the East Coast or kind of around the East Coast. So I'm able to pull from all of those inventories. And if there's something specific, I can usually get that pretty quick just because we have such a big inventory. That's not going to be true for every dealer, every Airstream dealer. Like, Colonial is a very popular Airstream dealer. Their inventory is their inventory, and they don't necessarily have, 4 or 5 more Airstream dealers that's also getting allotted Airstreams. So something to kind of think about. Let's see, I like what you had to say about the RBTs possibly being better option based on campsite. Yeah, I said that. The thing is crazy about the RB, and that's like kind of jumping in a little bit to the rear bed versus front bed. The rear bed, to me, and I said this in my Flying Cloud 25 RB Queen video, that I really felt like that's the floor plan that most people should get, because a lot of your campgrounds are going to be back in spots where you're not backing into the scenic spot and you're looking over a lake or you're looking at the beach. Like you're backing into the back of like a campsite, and there's going to be another camper on the backside. You're butting up against each other, or you're just backing up to another road or something like that. Where my parents like to go camping a lot down at the beach. Most of the sites they get, they're kind of pull through sites, but it's a road on one side and a road on the other side. And it really doesn't matter if they have a front bed or rear bed. And they rarely get that back end spot that like puts them looking over the lake. That this particular campground, that's North Myrtle Beach, has a lake in it, and then of course it's on the beach. That's the beach, and you can't really get a beachfront spot anymore. It's like built up, but you can get a lakefront spot. And they hate that spot because in this time of the year, there's mosquitoes. And if you have that kind of spot, you're fighting the mosquitoes the whole time. They'd rather be out like further away from that. So it's just something to think about. But the interesting thing is Airstream will retire floor plans that don't sell, which from a company standpoint makes sense. Like if you're building this floor plan and you've tooled it, you've got it all set up, but you only build a few of them, say like 4% of what you build in that particular length, should you still build it? Well, with that said, the 25 RB for International and Flying Cloud are retired for the model year 2024. So if you've been holding out for a 25 RB T or twin or queen, like I can't order one. I actually have someone that really, really wants the International 25 RB. And I called the factory, was trying to see if I could make something work. And I'm like, hey, I'm sure you got a 25-foot chassis. Can we just make it a rear bed? And now that they've switched to 24, I can't order it. So the 25 RB, that one's out, but we do still have the 28 RB. And I like the 28 RB is a unique floor plan in that the sofa, actually it's on the running across the front of the camper and it's facing back into the camper. So you're facing the TV, the dinettes there in front of you, and you're kind of looking into the camper. It's a unique floor plan. It's the 30 RB Classic or the 30 RB International Flying Cloud. And that one I like a little bit better. The thing I don't like about it is it doesn't have a pantry. If they could put a pantry in that floor plan would be so much better if they could just put a floor plate into it. The rear beds do give you a little bit more space in the bathroom. Bathrooms are a little bit bigger, and that's going to be true for the 30s and the 28s if you're kind of looking at that. The one thing I have heard about the 28 that was something I hadn't thought about, because the 28 has the sofa going across the front and facing in, you lose the really cool kind of, the panoramic windows are still there for the Airstream, but you lose the ability to sit, at your dinette and look out into wilderness. Like that's a big part of what makes Airstream special is, you're able to look out and feel like you're in nature, even though you're inside of this camper. There's so many windows. The sofa, you really lose that feel when you're sitting down. You still have it when you're moving about, maybe cooking, doing dishes, things like that. And it's going to be there, but you lose like the uniqueness of the FB that gives you that, and the 25 RB gave you that. And the 25 RB really was like a flop of the 25. which I liked. And I thought that made sense to me, that they would have those alternating floor plans. Like, hey, I want a rear bed. I don't want a front bed. I want to have the bed in the back of the campsite, and I want the living space at the front of the campsite. But apparently it did not sell very well. You guys did not like that floor plan, and they retired it for the 2024 model year. I'm going to look to see if I've got any other questions. The long life said, thank you for doing live stream. Thank you. I'm glad you're watching. We've got 23 folks watching. That's awesome. I'm going to kind of skim down and make sure and grab as many questions as I can, especially as we get into the 24 changes. So I'm going to go through the 24 changes. I'm going to start first, which makes it easy because they kind of done it this way for me, with all models. So this change is essentially going to affect every model, in some ways, every floor plan. And then we'll get into kind of specific model lines, I guess you would call them. Yeah, model lines, Bambi, Caravel. So the first thing, you guys, we've had the dual type A USB ports for a bit. I wish we had more. That's one of my criticisms that I kind of give back to feedback I give to Airstream often, is I'd like to have more USB charging locations throughout the camper, especially like in the kitchen, like right there at the kitchen counter. There needs to be USB there. We don't have it yet, but the USBs that we have, mainly in the back, at the beds, it's going to have a USB-A and a USB-C port. So we're moving into the future a little bit there. I like that they're doing the combo and not going straight to only USB-C. They're going to give you A and C, because you can charge two things there. And I've got some things that are USB-C, and I've got some things that are USB type A. If you're wondering what those are, the A is going to be the wider, skinny one, and the C is going to be much skinnier all the way around. There's a new door latch. This is one I wish I had a photo of. There's going to be a new screen door latch, which I make fun of that screen door latch all the time because it's plastic. I'm hoping that it's going to be aluminum or some kind of metal. It doesn't tell me. It just says new screen door latch, new styling, and new look. So we'll see. As soon as I get my first 24 Airstream, I will make a video as quick as I can. There's going to be an improved mattress consistency and comfort across all models. If you have shopped each model level, or you're kind of like we're between Fly Cloud and International or International Globetrotter, the mattresses do change a little bit as they go up. All models are going to get a four-layer design. They don't talk about the materials that's going to be in there, but I'm sure it's going to be some type of foam, like maybe memory foam or something like that. Some of the, I think the International is the one that has like a fairly comfortable mattress. The Flying Cloud is okay. And then the Classics have a fairly comfortable mattress. I'm sure, I bet the Classic, it'll probably be an improved mattress, but it's going to be the same mattress that they've been using, because it has that, it's got to have that split to be able to easily tilt up, I guess is what you would call that. There's going to be a new coil spring added to the Zippy awning. Now, I do have a photo of that, but it's on my phone. My phone's up there currently being used for the live stream. Let me see if I can bring it up on my iPad. Some of you have seen this, because this actually started, this new spring started really not, I'd say kind of towards the end of this past year. Probably the last 4 or 5 months we've been seeing the screen design, or the spring, I should say, spring design. So currently it's that little piece of rubber that's like a little C-shaped rubber. It doesn't work well. It's one of the things that makes that powered awning not work well. Maybe I don't have it. I thought I screenshotted the or saved the photos of that. Let me go back. Recent. That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Okay, so let's see how well you can see. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, so that's the new spring design for the Zippy awning. So all your Zippy powered awnings are going to have this spring design. You can order this if you want to order it for your existing International. That is the information to order it. Of course, it's backwards on the screen. Sorry. I don't know if I can't flip that, can I? No, I can't flip it. But if you're looking for it, it looks like the part number is 201240. AS relax push off spring assembly is what it's called. That's what it looks like when it's compressed, and then it'll actually push the awning out. Because if you don't already know this, when you're using the that powered Zippy awning, a lot of times you've got to have someone assist the awning to for it to actually get out far enough that the awning will start to move out the way that it's supposed to. Especially if you're tilted a little bit towards the non-campsite side, it really won't come out. Happens to me all the time on the lot when I'm trying to demonstrate one of the powered awnings. So I think that's going to really help fix that problem. I do think you're still going to have that problem to an extent if you're not level, or if you're leaning a little bit back. You'll probably still have that problem. But I am happy to see that Zippy is attempting to improve that awning. It's frustrating to me that that powered awning isn't as popular as far as quality goes as the manual Zippy awning. I will say Tim Maxwell said something to me a few weeks ago when we were talking that Airstream likes to do things right. They don't like to make improvements. They want to build the best product that they can possibly build, but they will sometimes do something wrong for way too long. And the Zippy awning, powered awning, is probably one of those things I think everybody would agree on. So, it started running the beginning of 23. So we've been seeing that. The next thing we're going to see on every model is a new converter that is upgraded to 50 amp. It's a new converter on your 50 amp floor plans to a progressive dynamics converter. You're going to see now this is exciting. So you're going to see an exterior dual coax inlet, satellite pre-wired, improved to a exterior data port. So instead of having a little like a campsite coax cable for your TV and then a satellite coax cable for your TV. Does anybody use that? Like, does anybody actually use the second coax port for satellite, or are you maybe using one just for campsite cable if you have campsite cable? I've kind of been curious to that. So, so it's going to include one coax port for legacy satellite systems, campground cable, but then a new Ethernet port that should allow you to be able to plug in Starlink. The question I have on this, and until I get to see one in person and actually look at it, I'm not going to be able to answer the question. Is this like Starlink is a regular network RJ45 jack? Like it looks like a network jack, but they use a different wire protocol because they run power over, I think, 4 of the cables instead of 2. Most of the time, if you have something that's power or Ethernet, and I'm probably getting a little bit nerdy here, but my background is actually in networking. Usually, I think it's two lines for 12 volt to power like a phone or something. They're using 4 lines, and because they're using 4 of the cables, the individual little conductors in there, they wire it a little bit different. I'm guessing to spread that out within the cable to be able to power the satellite. So my question with it is, will that work? Because it's going to be a pass-through for Starlink and for, I hit the camera again, and for Ethernet. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never seen a campsite that has Ethernet where you could just plug in, but maybe at home you could have that option and plug it in. Okay, you can use the RJ45. We did it on our Globetrotter 23. Awesome. Thanks for adding that. Okay, so I never used either cable. Not once. Yeah, I think I've done it. I did a road trip a few years ago. It was such a cool trip. I was able to borrow a Class B motorhome. It was an old Winnebago ERA. It was the one, I think it was 70A is what they called it. But it had a slide room and a rear bath. It was a dry bath. It was the best floor plan. They don't build it anymore. But I did a road trip and I traveled through the western part of North Carolina into Tennessee, through Knoxville, Nashville, then down into Atlanta. Saw some friends in the back, and I'm a big golfer. I played a different golf course every day, and I stayed pretty much that whole time in Cracker Barrel parking lots and Walmart parking lots before I got married, and then one of the nights I stayed in the KOA, and it had campsite TV input, and I plugged in and could watch TV. But that's the only time I can ever remember in all of my life of camping. And if you guys don't know, like I grew up camping. I was camping from being from a little baby all the way up until adulthood. I don't ever remember using that. But so anyway, you're going to lose one, which I don't think anybody's going to be too concerned about, but you're going to gain an Ethernet port. And my understanding is you'll be able to use Starlink with that. The one thing I'd like to see them to also do is put an Ethernet port on top as well. So I have an Ethernet cable on the top so we could mount the Starlink on top for you. And then also have it on the side. So if you want to have one that you place out so it's not covered by trees, you have that option. Or if you just want it to be mounted on top because that's going to be better for you, like we can do that. But I don't think they're doing that yet. What it says is the interior, it's going to interior bring your own device ports, now includes the Ethernet inlet. This is not going to be on the Bambi, and I don't think it's going to be on the base camp. This is just going to be Caravel and up, which I'm glad they're including Caravel. So if that is something that's important to you, you will be able to get that now. If it is important to you and you'd like to have that, that's something we can do. Most of your service centers can do. We can add the Ethernet for you. My service center can do it. If that's something you need, like you can do it now, but it's going to be nice. It's going to come from the factory. Antenna booster wall plate will be relocated to the radio location in the overhead cabinet. They are going to add a lithium battery option. So one of the 2023 fiascos, I will say, for Airstream was deleting the batteries. Everybody who got a 23, especially early in 23, probably ordered their Airstream in 22 when it was going to come with an AGM battery, and then it came with nothing because they made that change in 23. And I had to have that conversation with a lot of you to say that, hey, sorry, it just didn't come with batteries at all. How would you like to handle that? They're going to add a lithium battery option. From what Tim and I talked about on the stock inventory, it's going to be a little bit of a mix where we'll have some with the lithium and some without, until they kind of see how well that takes, how well that catches on, I guess, or how well it's received would be the better word. My thoughts are, I really feel like out of all the Airstreams I sold this year, I think I put AGMs in one camper and lead acid in one camper. Everybody else wanted lithium. So I feel like you could just put lithium on all of them. It's going to be 3 solar packages. So one solar package is going to be 3 solar package or 2. I thought he said. I'm trying to remember what Tim told me. I think there's 2 solar packages. So one is going to be there's 2 solar packages. One solar package is no batteries, just the solar package. Okay, I see. He did say 3. So the first was no solar package, but pre-wired for solar. So that's standard. And then your next package would be solar, no batteries. Your third package is going to be solar plus batteries. The solar plus batteries option, then it'll be 200 amp batteries. It's the Battleborns, what we've been getting, especially in the classic and Pottery barn. But I know my store installs those. I would think that most of the Airstream stores will probably install the Battleborns. 2 of those, so 200 amps. The solar and lithium package is going to retail between $5,000 and $6,000. Is what Airstream is going to put on the site. That's what Tim told me. So I haven't seen the final number. He just said between $5,000 and $6,000 for your solar and lithium from the factory. And then another change is going to be all models will be set for lithium charge profile from the factory, which I'm happy about because we do occasionally forget that in our service center to change. I think it's really the solar charge controller is the one you've got to change. The converter and the little converter charger thing, it automatically detects the chemical makeup of the battery, but the solar doesn't. So you have to set it to be the lithium charge profile. So it's going to come automatically in 24 from the factory set to lithium. That means that if you don't want lithium and you're going to tell the dealership that you purchased from to put in AGM or lead acid, that you also need to make sure they change the charge profile for the solar to make sure it works. Bigger inverter question mark? Yes, it is getting a bigger inverter. That is going to be on the Caravels up. I'm surprised they didn't put that. They didn't put it under the all models. They listed it within each change. Maybe it's because like Globetrotter only gets 2. It is going to be a 2,000 watt pure sine inverter. The one thing is not going to happen, which I'm sad about. They are not going to wire the inverted circuit to the microwave. With it being a 2,000 watt inverter, they could run that to the microwave. I don't know what the wattage is on a convection microwave. Maybe that's why the wattage on the convection microwave might be more than 2,000 watts. But like the range line, it's a 2,000 watt inverter, and they wire the microwave into that. You can microwave right off of the battery. It is a bigger battery pack in that one. I'd love for them to figure out how to put in 270 amp hour battle worn batteries. That would be incredible. So that's all of your like everything changed for the 2024 model year. Before I move on, let me see if there's any questions I missed. Bigger inverter, yep. We never used either. 18. Okay, usually close to 1,800 watts. Okay, well, I mean, it would be within the 2,000 watts, but I would be pushing it. Hello from Maine. Hey, thanks for watching. Thoughts on it? Okay, so the new roof design. I'll talk about that now. Somebody's been paying attention. So on the Flying Cloud and International, we are going to see an improvement on the way they're built. So if you've seen a new Classic, I think 22, 21 or 22 is when they introduced the new Classic body. And then the current Pottery Barn and Globetrotter, there is not a duct. There's not an air duct bump. There's not a bubble. We call it. I think everybody in the industry, everybody in the RV, all the Airstreamers out there call it the bubble. The bubble's gone, except for on the Caravel. The Caravel will still have it. In 2015, when Airstream added the ducted AC, instead of retooling the front caps, they added a bubble. That's the reason the bubble existed. If you didn't know, it was just to make enough room in the roof system to add the duct work in there. And Airstream does use a true duct work, which is one of the things I really like about Airstream. It's a true duct that actually runs through the roof. Most of your SOBs, they just cut out the foam. And if you look up in there, you'll just see foam. It's just a little foam channel. And you're really it's not an efficient way to get AC from one point to the other. It's better than not having ducted AC. That is true, but it's not as efficient as actually having a true duct work in there. And same thing for the inlet. The reason Airstream air conditioners on the ducted ones are about 20% quieter is the inlet is also ducted. So most of your SOBs, the inlet, the return is not ducted. It's just returning straight into the unit, and that's what's loud. And then the output is ducted. My understanding, what I've been taught or told with air, is the more turns you can put into air, the quieter the air movement is. And that's why they added that duct for the inlet, for the return, and the duct for the output. So it's quieter, and then, of course, it's going to be more efficient, especially on your bigger campers. For the Classic, they changed, so the reason they added that bubble is for them to redo the front caps and the rear caps would have meant they had to redo the molds to make them. And if you've watched any of the factory videos or been to the factory, you've gotten to see the mold that pushes up out of the ground. That's like a hydraulic thing. It's huge, and it stretches the aluminum around to make the way the front cap looks, and then they cut it from there and make the front cap, or the top of the cap or the sides. I haven't gotten to see them do the top of the cap. Both times that I was at Airstream, they were doing the lower pieces, so it didn't look as cool. Like, you didn't get to see as much of the curve. So with the Classic, they changed not just the front cap, and so this is the part that I want to get into. So it's not just a new front cap; it's actually a whole new skeleton. So your current Flying Cloud and International, and then your older all floor plans, the ribs that went up, or the beams, whatever you want to call them, were hand cut, hand welded, hand assembled. an Airstream artisan, as they call them, put those together, made those, welded them together. And I mean, as far as consistency, yeah, they're very consistent because they use a lot of molds, they use a lot of jigs and things to make sure everything's in line. But it's not perfect. And you've got a whole crew of Airstream artisans that are making these ribs, which means more people, more labor costs, and just more expensive, and then less consistent. So when they moved into the new building in 2020, they added a press, and it's in the videos. It's in the factory walk, the factory tour video that Airstream did. You can see it in there. It's this huge green machine, and it's a press. It presses down with a die onto aluminum, and it's aluminum sheet. It's just a flat sheet, and it's the length, the width, length, and stuff. For it's the width and the length for that section. When it presses down, it cuts all of the stress holes out and then wire stuff and bends that rib to the perfect exact shape. So the classic Globetrotter, classic Pottery Barn and Globetrotter have all had that press frame in there, the press skeleton. The International and the Flying Cloud are now going to get that. My assumption is that it was easier for them to hide the initial cost of adding that machine within the Classic's cost, because Classic is already so expensive. And then as they paid for that machinery, they started to run it kind of down the line. When you make those big improvements, you can pay for it with your expensive vehicles, and then eventually it becomes affordable in your less expensive vehicles. Let's be real, everything Airstream makes is expensive, but so Flying Cloud is going to have a new front cap. You'll no longer have that bubble, just like you see on the current Globetrotter and current Pottery Barn and current Classic. It's very smooth. It's a super smooth line. It looks really nice. It looks a lot better, I think. And it's most likely going to be a little bit more air efficient. I can't imagine it's going to be significantly more air efficient, but I think it is going to be a little bit more. I don't know that Airstream's done any of their air tunnel test with the new front cap and the new roof line, but just not having that little bump, it's got to help on drag. So it'll be a little bit taller. Airstreams are going to look taller now because the front caps are going to be a little bit higher. It's only maybe 2 inches. It's not a lot, but it's going to seem taller, because the Classic seems taller to me just when I look at it compared to seeing a Flying Cloud. Regularly, we sell Flying Clouds all the time, and then fewer Internationals and less few Globetrotters. Now the big news. This is the breaking news for this live, which is already went 37 minutes. And I was thinking I was going to try to keep it to 30 minutes. That's not happening. We're not going to see the Coleman AC within the Flying Cloud and International. Airstream has decided to go with the GE AC unit. So you guys tell me what you think about that. But I was a little bit shocked when I saw that, because right now it's the Dometic. Dometic is in the Bambi, the Caravel, the base camp. No, the base camp is Coleman. The Bambi, the Caravel, the Flying Cloud, and International are all Dometic. The feedback I got on that decision was that Dometic has not been giving Airstream the reliability that they would like out of the system. But they also don't want to jump all the way to Coleman being on everything. And I kind of think that does make sense. If you kind of jump all into one product and then that product also has problems, you've got that product everywhere. GE I've got stuff out on the lot that is using GE. It's a new product line. I think GE really popped up during the pandemic when, there was the opportunity, because Coleman and Dometic was struggling to get the ACs for companies. At one point early on in the pandemic, there were a lot of larger campers, other brands. I know like Grand Design was one, where you couldn't get the second AC. You got one AC from the factory, and if you wanted the second AC, you had to pay for it at the dealer. The dealer had to install it for you, and then the dealer had to try to get it, and they were hard to get. I think that's when GE started to make an AC, and because it was opportunity for them to jump into a new market that they haven't been in. So they're not brand new. It's not a brand new air conditioner. It's been around for a couple of years now. I want to say 2020 2021, probably early 2021 or maybe late 2020 was when I first started seeing the GEs. As far as what I think about them, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we sell in my store, we sell a product called Aurora. It's a private label. It's a stick and tin, the entry level travel trailer. And I haven't really heard that customers are having issues with them or having to come back with them. So I'm not concerned, I would say, because I feel like Airstream wouldn't go to the GE if they had concerns with it. I may be wrong, but I wouldn't think they would go back to the G. They would go to the GE if they felt like if they had concern. GE is a reputable company. My whole life, I've heard, like there's a few brands when it comes to refrigerators and stovetops and things like with your house like that. Like those are good ones to get. GE is one of them. I think I have all GE appliances in my kitchen, and Maytag is one, and I'm sure like you could list a lot more. That's kind of the big thing. I mean, I think that was really, to me, the biggest piece of news that I got from Airstream when they told me about the 2024 changes. So you're going to see a GE AC. I'm guessing that they are doing both 15,000 BTU and the 13.5. I also would love for someone to do a 20,000 BTU AC. I don't know why we don't have that yet. Like, that would be useful, especially in that hot summer. And if you could get to a 20,000 BTU, I really think you could not have to do two ACs in a lot of floor plans. You could do the 120,000 BTU AC. And I would think that I'm not an engineer. Now, you guys, like I have so many customers that are engineers, could probably tell me that there's like a logical reason for why you don't see the 20Ks or a 20K. But I would love to see a 20K replace the 15K, and then we do like a 13 just to supplement it on the bigger floor plan. So GE is going to be the upgraded AC. Let me jump back to the Bambi. So as far as changes on the Bambi, there's going to be a new wheel styling. I haven't seen that yet. I have a feeling it's going to probably be a little bit like what we already have in the Caravel and Flying Cloud. I'd love it to see if they would give us a black/aluminum rim. There's new ceiling lights that are going to be upgraded to an LED round style surface mount. It doesn't say that it's going to be the same as the Caravel and Flying Cloud, because that's basically what they currently have. But is on the Bambi, you are going to see a new ceiling light that's upgraded to LED. It's the round style surface mounted. We're also going to see improved light switches and an added dimming features, which we already have on the Caravel. I think it is the Caravel light switch is going to be on the Bambi. That's going to take a little bit of the distinction between the Bambi and Caravel away, because the lights and the light switches is one of the things I point out when I talk about the differences between Bambi and Caravel. They are going to now give us a power ton jack with a light standard on the Bambi, which is like, thank you. It's time. I think that's also going to be on the base camp. The improved window coverings to block out roller shades with a white hardware. So new covers that help block out the windows. Because the Bambi, you get that really thin metal blind. It's really cheap. It's one of the first things I would probably upgrade if I got a Bambi. So now it's going to go to a roller shade that's going to have white hardware and a new 12-volt smart TV, and it increases to 24 inches. It's also going to feature Bluetooth compatibility to be able to play sound over your, with your phone over your TV. I can't imagine that's going to sound better than just playing music over your phone. The 22-inch DVD combo that we've seen for a little bit, that's going to retire. So it's just going to be the new 24 smart TV. And then the smart TV is another one that they probably could have just put in the all models, because all models are getting a new 12-volt smart TV. And it's going to be able to play your like Netflix, your Hulu, your YouTube, things like that. I haven't seen it yet, so I haven't been able to really mess with it. Like, we use YouTube TV here at home. So like that would be a big thing for me. If it could use YouTube TV, if I could install the YouTube TV app, that would be awesome. So new smart TVs. The cool thing about that to me is if you carry a lot of DVDs, or you still have a lot of DVDs, but you also want a smart TV. Like you want to have the smart capability, but you also want to have your DVD player. Maybe you want to hit a red box while you're out camping, but you need a DVD player to do that. By having the smart TV, you can put a DVD player up there if you want it. If you don't, then that's just extra storage. But you don't lose smart TV capabilities. So I like that aspect that the TV is already going to have the smart capability on it. Of course, to be able to utilize smart capability, use a smart TV, you have to have internet. So that's something to think about. But it's there. If your campsite has it, then you'll be able to use it. And then moving to, that's everything on the Bambi. The 12-volt TV, that's every floor plan or every model. Now on the Caravel line, we're going to see, I mentioned this earlier, the upgraded inverter to 2,000 watts, the new 12-volt smart TV, also a new wheel style. I don't know if that's going to be similar to the Bambi or not, but it's going to be a new wheel style, improved window coverings. And then on the Caravel, it's going to be black roller shades instead of white. And then it will have silver hardware. And then we're going to see a new styling on under cabinet lighting and function to a compositive touch dimmer with memory. It already has that. The Caravel already has that touch light dimmer thing on it. I don't like it. So hopefully this one will be better than that one. It's going to also have memory. So I'm guessing the memories means that you'll be able to set a desired brightness and then recall that desired brightness every time you turn it on. Moving to the, let me check comments real quick. Bigger inverter, yeah, 2,000 watts. That's it. Caravel and up. GE, I talked about that a little bit. If you heard much about. Yeah, I mean, it's a little concerning, but again, I think that I really feel like Airstream's probably done enough research and conversations with, because Airstream's a part of Thor, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Thor owns Airstream now." That is true, but Airstream was Thor's first company. The guys that formed Thor to acquire Airstream's debt. Airstream was essentially bankrupt. They were pretty much probably going to close at that point. Those two guys formed, they acquired the debt, and then turned Airstream around. Airstream exists today because of Thor. Definitely can criticize some of Thor's products that they make and the motorhome line and things like that. We can definitely criticize that. But as far as Thor and Airstream, that's been a great partnership. And it's a good thing that Thor owns Airstream. And Thor's also kind of stayed out of Airstream. They pretty much let Airstream do Airstream. The only time I've heard of Thor actually getting involved with Airstream was in 2020 when Airstream had that short quality issue where they were trying to build too many Airstreams, and the quality, it's kind of two things. They moved into the new factory, and on top of that, the pandemic happened, and all the dealerships sold out and had no inventory, and they were all fussing for inventory. Thor came in, the CEO, I think it was Bob Wheeler at the time, came in and basically told Airstream, I don't care what you do. If you've got to slow down, if you've got to stop building and do training, that all that matters is that Airstream doesn't lose quality, because Airstream's name is synonymous with quality. So I don't care what you got to do, but you've got to keep the quality. And I think what I was told, they actually did like a 2-week intentional slowdown. And then went in and retrained in certain areas to bring the quality back up. And that's part of the reason for some of you, your Airstream that should have been 12 months was like 16 months or something like that, that you ordered in, late 2020, early 2021, and you ended up not getting it until like 23. That's part of the reason is what happened there. That's the only time I've heard of Thor actually stepping in. The point of me talking about Thor is Airstream can talk to Thor, because Thor is probably using the GE air conditioner on product lines that they build, within Keystone or Jayco. So they have the resource to be able to go out and do a wider array of testing because they have Thor now, or because they're a part of Thor, than if it was just Airstream. So I would say they probably have done some research to see whether or not, to make sure that GE is going to be okay. Double upper bunk, that is going to be next. I'll talk about that in a second. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Hello from Texas. Wow, you are far away. Let me see. Classic TV be 12 volt. Yes. In the bedroom. I think they're going to keep that Samsung TV in the living room, which I think they should retire and put a 12 volt TV there. The Samsung TV on the 30-foot Classic, the Samsung has this appearance of being more luxury. I think it is a more expensive TV, probably a better looking TV than the 12 volt TVs that they've been using. So I think they're going to keep that one from what I'm seeing. The bedroom TV will have that new smart TV. Yeah, I think they're going to remain 110 in the living room area, but the bedroom area will be 12 volt. So as far as changes, I'll hit those real quick. There's not a whole lot of changes on floor plans. Avery asked their interior floor plan changes. There's not a whole lot of changes. I was also hoping that they would come out with a new floor plan this year, but they haven't done that because 23 they retired a lot of floor plans. Like they retired the 23 CB and CB bunk. I love those floor plans. It's not for everybody. A corner bed is a corner bed. It is what it is. But if you're a family just starting and you want to be a part of Airstream and you want to have the heritage of Airstream, you want to have the quality of Airstream, the 23 CB bunk was a fantastic floor plan. If anything, I wish they'd kept just the CB bunk and then maybe got rid of the CB and retired it. But again, they're not going to keep floor plans that aren't selling. So, I mean, you guys really determine what floor plans they keep by what floor plans you're buying. So on this Flying Cloud, I'm going to jump to Flying Cloud now. I think I've answered everything I see. You're welcome. Thank you, Daniel. And for Flying Cloud, that's really where we see our changes. So on the 30 FB bunk and the 30 FB office, there is now a twin bed configuration. Thank you. Thank you, Airstream, for adding twin beds to the bunk. Like that, no brainer. It's kind of like why did it take so long? But so finally, if you want the bunk with twin beds, you can get the bunk with twin beds on the 24, and you can get the office with twin beds. I'm actually in the process of trying to figure out how to order a 24 30 FB office for a customer. And the reason I say that is they haven't given us the order sheets for 24 yet, so I'm literally writing twin bed on the sheet. We are going to have an increased size. Someone asked this a little bit further up on the beds. So on your bunk, you're going to have basically a double bunk. So that it's the same size, the bottom bunk that's currently in the bunk floor plan, that one is going to be, there's just another one of those above it. So to me, that's what it should be. I like the little single bed. It looked cool, and it kept they kept the back section a little bit more open when you walk back towards the bunk area in the bathroom. I think that probably is why they initially put that little bed there. The other reason they probably put that there is they were already using that bed in the CB bunk, and they were able to repurpose that same bed. And from a manufacturing standpoint, that helps in cost. I like that they went to a double bed, so the same size. It's the same as the bottom bunk. That's what they state. They're going to have a 250-pound weight rating per bunk. That's a little light, but I guess kids will fit there. You would not want to. You can't do two adults there, but you could do two kids there. I mean, 250. That's almost what I weigh. I weigh more than 250, but that's between us. And then the rear window, that on the current bunk, you've got a port window at the top, and then a full window that's actually, I think, the escape window too. That's going to become a port window, probably to make room for the structure that they need in the wall to hold that bed up. And then the egress window is going to be added to the bathroom. Haven't got to see that yet, but as soon as I'm able to do a review on the bunk, I will. I need somebody to order a 2024 bunk from me, so I can make sure I get to review it. It's going to get the 2,000 watt pure sine inverter, upgraded AC system to GE, the new 12-volt smart TV. Again, this is on the Flying Cloud, but with the Bluetooth compatibility to play sound with the radio. Improved styling on under cabinet lighting and function to capacitive touch dimmers with memory. I hope that's a good one because the one on the Caravel right now I don't like. It's hard to. It's just not easy to use. If you have the Caravel and you're trying to turn it on by like swiping up, to turn it on and off, you can tap it. I had a customer show me that one day, and I felt like I should have known that, but tap it. That makes it much easier. Improved reading lights for a single focus LED light with the brushed nickel styling. I guess that's in the bedroom area and probably over the dinette. And then the improved updated shell design for all Flying Cloud models, which is going to be the same as the Globetrotter. What the Globetrotter currently has, Pottery Barn currently has, and the Classic currently has. It does say MERV 8 filter. I'm hoping that if you've seen a Classic, or like any of those three I just mentioned, there's a better filter system in there. It's a little bit bigger, square, instead of the two little rectangles. I think it's easier to take down as well. It's a screw look, but it's like a quarter turn screw instead of actually having to take screws out. I'm hoping that this says the MERV 8 filter. I'm hoping that means it is going to have the new MERV 8 filter, but just with the GE AC. I was confused in thinking that they used that particular filter because it was a Coleman. I guess the Coleman didn't have anything to do with it. So that's the Flying Cloud. Wow, that's another Texas. I have somebody who's wanting to order from Texas here for me this coming year, I think. Let's see, Washington State. Wow, that is really far away. What time is it there? Door latch redesign. It does say a little bit earlier. I talked about this. There's a new design on the screen door, but not on the actual door latch. There is, if you probably search Google, if you Google Airstream door latch lockout solution, something like that, you'll see something pop up. There's a guy in our area here on the East Coast. He probably goes to like the International Rally or something like that, but he has a little solution that he'll sell you and install for you. But it just kind of, I don't even know what it's. A little black piece is about that long and a little cutout to fit around the little locking mechanism that moves up and down. But it's one screw and then you fold it up and it keeps that from being able to unlock, if that makes sense. That's about the only solution that we got right now. But yeah, people are getting locked in and out of their campers. But they haven't mentioned anything as far as the locks yet. I'd love to. They do need to do something about that at some point. I got everybody trying to decide what to upgrade to. I feel that. Okay. So really only floor plan changes are going to be the 30 FB bunk and 30 FB office with a twin bed option. Move into the international. Arizona, nice. International. So that's going to get the new 2,000 watt inverter, the new, as I mentioned, the new AC, the new 12 volt TVs. They're going to add rope lights in the galley, dinette, and bedroom cabinets. So I guess right now it's like it's just a regular light. So they're going to change that to a probably LED rope light. They improved reading lights, the brushed nickel styling, and then they're also going to incorporate the design. Oh, that's funny. They didn't. In the international section, they copy and paste Flying Cloud. It says Flying Cloud, but they meant international. So the new design, I would say that's probably their biggest undertaking for this year. And maybe why we didn't see new floor plans is because upgrading the Flying Cloud and the international to that new stamped skeleton cage, whatever you call that, rib, and the new front cap. That's going to be a pretty big undertaking for them because they build more Flying Cloud international than they do anything else. I think you could add Globetrotter, Pottery Barn, and Classic together, and you probably still wouldn't get Flying Cloud numbers. Globetrotter, there's only two changes on it: 2,000 watt pure sine inverter, and then the new 12 volt TVs with the Bluetooth compatibility to play sound with the radio. One of my early Notes I got said something about being able to play sound over the radio. I wonder if that's what that means by Bluetooth compatibility to play sound with the radio. I guess you can connect the TV to the radio, and maybe by Bluetooth, you're able to play your TV sound over the radio. We'll see. On the Pottery Barn, they are still building the Pottery Barn for 24. I have a feeling 24 may be the last year of the Pottery Barn. They usually only do their special editions for 3 years when they do them. The Pottery Barn, they extended it 2 years for COVID, because of COVID. I don't want to say this, we're getting into the fourth or fifth year of Pottery Barn. So this may be the last year you can get a new Pottery Barn. If you're, I'm not sure why the camera just zoomed out like that. Sorry. If you're thinking about getting a Pottery Barn, you may want to jump on that soon, or at least this year. New 12-volt TV, new 2,000-watt inverter, and an improved door bedroom. Excuse me, can't read. New bathroom door handle with a new M-lock magnet catch. Don't know that means at all, but I do know the door handle on the Pottery Barn bathroom has, like, it's not smooth. It's not got the, for it to be a Pottery Barn, that's not got that luxury feel to me. And then on the Classic, this is the last page. The Classic is they're gonna upgrade the inverter to 2,000 watts. The new 12-volt TVs feature Bluetooth compatibility to play sound with the radio. The 33 FB is not going to have that because it has the screen and it has a soundbar. That's interesting, because if they don't put on the 30-foot, if they don't put a 12-volt TV in the living room area, why would you want the bedroom TV to be able to play Bluetooth? I think that's a miss on Airstream, because that doesn't make sense. If the 12-volt TV that's in the bedroom is the one that can play over Bluetooth, that's not going to benefit the Classic buyer, because you're going to have the Samsung TV in the front. They should add a soundbar to the Samsung TV. That's what they should do. Okay, sorry. Improved function on the 30 FB sofa. Operational now on 12-volt power. Entire back now reclines for added sleeping position. Footrest reclines individually, and add USB-C outlets inside each arm. I really want to see this new sofa that they're going to do, because right now in that one, in the Classic, really your only sleeping area is the dinette, and that's, it's what, 76 inches, I think, long, or 76 inches in length, I think is what it is. So I mean, that's, you could put a fairly tall person there, but you're not really put adults there. It's, maybe a couple of grandkids will go there. So it sounds like the sofa is going to now be 12-volt, which is great, because it's 110 currently, and you can only run that sofa out if you got power plugged in and running on a generator. So it's going to be 12-volt now, and then the entire back is now going to recline to add sleeping. I don't know what that looks like yet. That's what I want to see, is what it's going to look like. I wonder if it's going to be like the Interstates, the Interstate 24 GT and GL, where like it's one sofa across the back, and then the whole sofa folds down, but then with recliners. If it's that way, I'd actually be a little bit disappointed in that, because I bet that will change the comfort of the current sofa that's in the Classics. Is it, the sofa in the Classic right now, the 30 or 33, that is the sofa to have. Like that, I wish they would give the option to have that sofa in other floor plans, because it is so comfortable. Airstream seats aren't necessarily the most comfortable seats. The International and the Flying Cloud to me have the more comfortable. The Globetrotter, it's more stylish. I wouldn't put it in the comfortable category, just because of how thin the backrest is. But that sofa on the Classic, it's comfortable. I'd love to see them add that to other floor plans. The other floor plan I'd like to see them add is a 23 FB. I'm getting off subject here, but a 23 FB with a couch instead of the dinette. If you know what I'm talking about, on the International and the Flying Cloud, you've got the 23 FB front bed. They gave us twin bed this past year, which was awesome for 23. That was fantastic. I've sold quite a few of those. Give us a sofa with like maybe the tables that turn out or something like that, to have tables there, but have like true seats there instead of it just being a U-shaped dinette. It would take the sleeping away. I get that, but or even if it's the like on the 25 FB sofa that goes along the long wall, put that there so you can pull out the bottom and add sleeping right there. I'd love to have that. I think that would be a good floor plan. But Airstream told me that they would think about it when I suggested it. So I think that's all of the news I have for 2024. We don't have any really new floor plans. We've got some improvement on the 30 FB bunk and 30 FB office by having twin bed options. And then we've got some new TVs, things like that. I think the biggest my takeaway would be your biggest improvements is going to be the added Ethernet port for Starlink. I think that's going to be big for a lot of Airstreamers, especially those of you who spend months and months in your Airstream or even full time. The improved mattress, I think, is a big one. But the TVs, the new smart TVs, I haven't seen them yet, but just by what I'm reading, I feel like that's going to be a big deal. Having it being a smart TV already, the roller shades and the Bambi and Caravel is going to be a big thing, and then the improved shells on the Flying Cloud International. I love that we're gonna have some consistency from Flying Cloud all the way to Classic. One of the phrases I always say when I'm talking to someone is like, no matter which model you're looking at, you're gonna get the same Airstream quality because they're built the same, and that's not really been true for the past couple of years, because the Globetrotter Pottery Barn Classic has actually had a different frame in it. It's still the same quality, but it's not the same frame. Now, Flying Cloud Up is going to be the same frame. It's going to have that smooth line with the new front cap. I think that to me is probably the biggest thing they're doing. And then they improve to 2,000 watt inverters. Probably means you can actually run a coffee maker off your inverter now. Yeah. Now that's what I would probably say is the biggest changes. Let's see what we've got as far as comments go. Pennsylvania. That's awesome. That's where my wife was born, is Pennsylvania. Considering the 27 FBQ, that's a solid floor plan. The 25 was the number one seller outside of the base camp. Base camp 20X is the number one seller on the East Coast. It doesn't make sense here. We sell them, but we don't sell them more than we sell Flying Cloud. We sell them, but the only thing I can think is you guys that are out in the West Coast and the Midwest that can go out into the dunes and do the overlanding and stuff. You've got to be buying all the base camp 20Xs. But outside of the base camp 20X, the 25 FB is the top seller in the Flying Cloud. So I think the 21, the 27 was the top seller. 22. Yeah, 21 was the top. The 27 was the top seller. That's a great floor plan. It gives you double the storage basically over the 25. It's 28 foot total length. You can still get into most of your state parks at that length. I think you can get into like 95% of your state parks. Okay, 3 p.m. That's okay. All right. Yeah, right. Because you're behind. Okay. I think that's Washington, right? Who's that? DJ, where you're 3 p.m. Where do you live? I know I saw that, but now I can't remember. Washington? Man, Washington State. That's crazy. Thanks for watching. I watched KYD. KYD is awesome. They honestly, a lot of the stuff they do, I wanted to do, and I'll probably still do even though they did it. But some of their like new to RV, new to Airstream. My wife really wants to do a video about that. You tell them, Chad. That's funny. You're welcome. Any chatter on the eStream? So the eStream was just a concept. The way that I should have done a video on the eStream, I wanted to. They gave me the info on it, and when I say me, I mean just all salespeople. They sent out the info ahead of time, ahead of the announcement, and I really wanted to do a video on it. And I make videos. That's part of. I make videos that really enjoy it. I really enjoy making videos, and I learned when I first started selling Airstreams, I learned so much by watching videos. I watched Patrick's videos at Colonial, and I'll 100% admit that I copied Patrick. He did something great, and with doing his videos, and he does them a little bit different. He's way more detailed than I am, and part of the reason I don't get as detailed as him is because he's already doing it. And I know you guys are watching his videos too, just like I did. And I watched what's the guy at DFW? Andrew, is that his name? But the guy, the shorter guy, he does that. He's actually a PDI tech. He does the demos at DFW. I got to meet him at Airstream. He's a really nice guy. At the training that I did this past year with Airstream. But I do them. They're fun. But I'm also a full-time sales professional for Airstream at Airstream of Greensboro. So I sometimes struggle to find time to make the videos and also make sure I'm answering questions and taking care of my customers, because customers are number one priority. Like when you're in sales, if any of you have done sales, customers are number one priority. If you call me, I'm going to pick up, or you leave a voicemail, I'm going to call back as quick as I can. If you text me, I'm going to respond, answer the questions as soon as I have the answer to be able to answer it. But so videos have kind of sometimes get they get pushed off to the back burner to make sure that I'm taking care of you guys that are shopping for Airstreams and helping you. So, but anyway, I was going to do a video on the eStream and I just never got around to it. So the eStream is a concept. Airstream's done a few concepts over the years. If you go and do the factory tour and then also do the tour of the museum that they've done there at the new factory, it's worth it. If you're an Airstreamer and you love Airstream the way I love Airstream, it's worth the drive. I'm pretty sure they have campsites that you can camp at if you're there. I'm not sure how that works. Those may be for service customers only. But even if you just go, say you camp around Columbus, but drive up and do the tour, it's only about an hour from Columbus, Ohio. So you can be there and have a lot of stuff to do around that area, and then drive up one day and do the tour. But anyway, do the history tour. It's very well done. My wife's in journalism, and the whole time we were walking through the tour, she just kept saying how well it was done and kept pointing things out about just how well things were done. But in there, they show some of the previous collaborations and concept collaborations they've done. So the eStream is really, it's more so Thor than Airstream. Thor actually owns that trailer. It's a real trailer. It functions. It doesn't have any tanks though. It's, the whole bottom of its batteries. The eStream was an opportunity for Thor and Airstream to get BMW designers to give them ideas. It's a smart thing for Airstream to do. It gives them the ability to tap into engineers and designers that they don't naturally have access to because they don't work for them. They get access to them, and then they're able to promote both brands. And that's really what they did. They were able to promote Airstream just by doing the concept. I think it's a really cool idea. There's a lot of things in there, like the way that that camper has its own motors in it, so it can propel itself. That's what you're gonna have to have for us to be able to take trucks to electric. You take any of your electric trucks right now. I've got a few customers that have Rivians, and they tow with them. Like I have a customer that has a base camp who just got his Rivian. I'm hoping he brings the whole setup by the store so I can see it in person. But his mileage is going to be short. Like he's going to have to think through where he goes with the Rivian, and then once he gets there, he's got to plug in and charge the batteries. And KYD, they did a video with the Ford Lightning and towed their Airstream. Yeah, I think they towed their Airstream to a nearby campground and gave quite a bit of insight into what it would be like. I guess if you get the Ford Lightning and maybe like the Caravel 16 RB, it would work, or the Bambi. The Bambi is lighter than the Caravel because there's less stuff on it. Maybe a Bambi 19 CB or the 22 FB, you would get a little bit more fuel economy, or not fuel economy, I guess, whatever they call that, battery economy. Until they figure out a way to a cost-effective way. They know how to do it. It's just that it's going to be too expensive to propel Oh look, all electric family on YouTube tows Airstreams with Rivian. Who's that? Who do you know? Is that what their title is on YouTube? I want to look that up. Okay, cool. I'm gonna look that up. So it once the Airstream or whoever it is, and I feel like Airstream will probably do it. Um, they'll do something along the lines, a big battery pack underneath that powers the trailer itself, which would also in turn be the best lithium battery pack you could ever put on an RV. I mean, imagine boondocking with that type of battery. That would be incredible. But have that, some kind of like sled battery, and then okay, okay. Oh, cool. Hey, how's it going, Tony? I didn't pick up your name there. Okay, hey. Um, but have some kind of a sled battery, and then motors that propel the Airstream. And there are some I think there's some laws, federal laws that they talked about when they did the release that um, the Airstream has to be, or the trailer has to be moving at a slower pace than the truck, things like that. So um, oh, okay, yeah, cool. All electric family. I'll definitely go watch their videos and subscribe. Um, Once they do that, it will work. Or if they can figure out a way, like say Airstream partners with Ford, and then they build a connection between the E-Stream that has the battery pack, but it's just the regular Dexter axle, or maybe a different axle. It'd have to be a heavy duty axle because that's going to be a heavy trailer. But they create a connection that you plug in the trailer's battery pack into the Ford, and then you extend your range by just basically having two battery packs. Like that's another way they could do it, and that would eliminate the issue of having to have the system on the E-Stream being able to not push the truck, because then you'd have all kinds of issues if it actually pushed the truck. I would feel more comfortable having just that extra battery pack than to have another trailer behind me that has the potential of pushing the truck. That everything new seems scary, but that does seem scary to me. The other thing I liked about the E-Stream concept is the pop-up roof. Yeah, it's funny I say that because pop-ups don't sell it. Nobody wants a pop-up anymore. When I was a kid, my family used to own an RV business here in North Carolina, and I just remember hearing my grandfather talk about pop-ups being the gateway drug to the RV industry. You have the tent camper who didn't want to tent camp anymore, but they didn't really want to go to a trailer because that was too nice. That was too much luxury. So they would go to a pop-up. But then once they started a pop-up and they figured out the RV lifestyle and they fell in love with RVs, they would then want to move to a traditional travel trailer. But it's funny to think, but I did like the pop-up design on the E-Stream. I think that's cool. It'd be cool to see, Airstream do something with like maybe a base camp or something where they can have that pop-up. I agree. I agree with that, Barbara. Like I'm looking forward to seeing how the industry changes with EV technology, what Airstream does. And the cool thing about being a part of Airstream is they do some of those things they can do faster than other manufacturers can, and sometimes they're slower. The other thing I would like to see Airstream do is a Volta system in a travel trailer. We have the Volta system now in the Interstate 1924 and the Atlas. And it's a fantastic, I mean, it's a great system. It's 12,000 watts. It's a 1,300 watt inverter. You can run everything in the coach off of it. That would be expensive. I think it's a $20,000 ad. But some of you are spending 20 grand just to upgrade your current campers. Maybe not the 28 that are currently watching. But there's plenty of Airstreamers out there who have spent that to get the solar and to get the batteries and to do all of the retrofit to be able to run one AC off an inverter. The other thing I'd like to see them do is on the interstate, which is, I know we're talking about travel trailers, but this would correlate with what I just said. But it's the move to either a 48 volt AC system or a 12 volt AC system instead of having a 110 that you have to turn the inverter on. We would get, for those who buy the E1 package and have the Volta system, you would get significantly more use out of your AC because it would be so much more efficient. anytime you have to turn an inverter on, you're losing a good amount of energy just off of the inverter running. Like just off the inverter being turned on, you're losing a good bit of your DC energy. So anytime you can connect 12 volt directly to the battery, it's better. So let's see if I missed anything else. If not, I'm gonna end my hour and 20-minute long live that I thought was gonna be 30 minutes. My wife is probably wondering what's happening. We're quite past dinner time. It looks like I think I've answered everything. So let me just say thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me for a long amount of time. What is for dinner? I think we're doing a what's it called? It's like breaded chicken with tomato sauce and grilled veggies, whatever that's called. She has a name for it, but my wife's a very good cook. If you got to be at the Tanglewood, Carolina Club rally this past year, you got to have cupcakes by my wife. Hopefully we'll do that again this year. Okay. All right. Well, hey, for those who are watching, I'm guessing you're probably subscribers, but I'm going to start doing some more videos that are outside of just walkthroughs or walk-arounds and demos and things or reviews. I've done some like how-to videos, but I want to get into like I've got the Level Mate Pro. Some of you probably already have this. I've watched quite a few videos of other YouTubers out there that RV that have done this, but I recommend this to customers all the time, and I recommend it without actually knowing how well it works. So I'm gonna install this on a camper and go through how to install it and set it up and kind of give it a review. I've also got the Waggle coming too for those that have pets and love their pets and want to make sure their pets are staying in a cool and not getting overheated. So I'm going to put that in one. So I'm going to do that stuff too. So be on the lookout for that, for those videos. And we do have, my wife and I do have a big announcement that we're not going to do now, but that's coming out. So be on the lookout for that as well. Thank you guys for joining me for the first live stream. Tell me in the comments if this is something you'd like for me to do more. I'm going to try, hopefully, assuming you guys like this, maybe try to get some of the factory guys to come in and do this with me. It'd probably be something like over Skype. And then you'll have the opportunity to ask Tim Maxwell at Airstream some questions and things like that. Other than that, thanks for joining me. You guys live riveted, and we'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.